Hi again, welcome back to another one. We're into the meat of practice week now, so time for a bit of an update on what we've been up to, and let's see how things are going. Let's go. It's Wednesday afternoon now, and we didn't get out last night, as obviously you'll all know. Yesterday morning, me and Jim, Mike too, were doing a piece with Motorcycle News up at the grandstand at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we rode up there with the bikes with all our gear on for photos and things. And it was like the middle of November. It was cold and it absolutely lashing down, horrible. And you're just thinking, compared to last year, it was like I say, it's like the middle of winter, not the middle of summer. And you just say there's no chance of any practice yesterday. Even if it did stop raining, which it was due to middle of the day, it's like the chance of it drying out everywhere before 6 o'clock was just like slim. Like, to be honest, I think we all thought it wasn't going to happen, but it is still summer, and so it is relatively mild. It doesn't feel like that when it's raining and it's windy and it's horrible, but as soon as it stops, there is warm air and it does dry quickly. And it shouldn't be a surprise, we know this because we go through it every year, especially at the Manx Grand Prix. But yeah, we managed to get the roads closed yesterday, and we did quite a lot of moving around, just travelling marshals. You may have seen some pictures of us moving through different sectors, just at steady speeds, just doing road condition checks because the conditions were changing fast. So me and Mike 8 headed out from the grandstand to Ballacrane, and it's fine. It was, it was dull and it was cloudy. But the roads were dry. A few damp patches in the usual places and things like that. But once we got to Greeba, it's quite unusual because heading to Greeba Castle, it still looked really, really dry. But Mikey was behind me and he said I could see a wet line forming on the road from the back tyre. So it was obviously a little bit wetter than it looked. And that's sort of like the worst condition in the world, isn't it? Because it looks dry, and if you charge in there at full speed, it's not going to take long for it to trip somebody up. They'd had a quick shower come through there, and there'd been reported a quick shower at Ballacrane and through that sector, but it stopped fast. It was light, it barely wetted the road, and so the road holds its warmth, and as long as the shower stops quickly, it evaporates as quickly as it got damp. So after about 5 minutes, we then moved on to Kirkmichael, and Ballacrane to Kirkmichael was absolutely fine. I then stopped at Kirkmichael. We're getting constant weather reports from around the course, and that shower that had blown through onto the west side and wetted the road through Greeba and around Ballacrane, and then moved over the top and was starting to drop some moisture up at Brandywell. And it typically does. When it falls higher up, it tends to fall a little bit heavier, and it did start to wet the road at Brandywell, and it stopped, and then it started again, and you're playing the weatherman for that part of the night, and that's fine, that's part of our job. And as ex-racers and experienced marshals, we ride the course, and you make a judgment on, is that safe to race on? Is it safe to go racing on? And the last time of my report, that section between Ballacrane and Kirkmichael was perfectly dry and no problems at all. But then it started to rain at Kirkmichael, and it wasn't long. You could feel it coming, to be honest. You could feel the atmosphere from the control tower that they were starting to think it's probably not worth it. And you see a load of kick-off again, then, don't you, on social media? Put some wet tyres in, and it's just like, we're not getting to all that because it's just a few people who don't really understand, and it just gets everyone's backs up. But 99% of people, they completely understand it, they get it. And it's always difficult when you've closed the roads and everyone's got into position and then it's cancelled. It's always a bit of an extra letdown. Not like Race Control would never feel obligated to run a session because the roads have already been closed, as opposed to just, we'll have a delay, 2 road closure, and then ultimately just cancelling it. It's disappointing, and you had loads of people out there waiting to see bikes, and some people coming for them their first night and stuff, and especially when last year's amazing weather is still so fresh in your mind. It feels like Grand Prix week with the weather. It's like it's not even warm. It's like northerly winds, and yeah. But I'm not here just to harp on about the weather. Talking about what we've been up to. So obviously Monday, bank holiday, was the first session, and we had a really, really good session. Weather was nice. I was at Ballacrane. It was really warm. The winds were low. Conditions were good. And they got sort of their free practice sort of runs, if you like, before we had a break and then the qualifying sessions. And again, as you'd expect, times are nowhere near as quick as they were for the first night last year. If you remember the first night last year, I think they did 1:30s in the first night, and Michael broke the lap record on his twin on the first night of practice last year. First lap out breaks the lap record, which is crazy. But it just goes to show what great conditions they were in last year. And so you can pretty safely say that there aren't going to be any lap records broken this year, because the grip's just not going to be there. The boys are pushing on hard last year on an amazingly rubbered in and grippy track. They had loads of laps, loads of practice, and it's just not going to be the same again this year. They're not going to have had as much practice. There won't be as much grip out there. It's not going to be. But as long as the racing's close, that's all that matters. It's not a competition to see who can break the lap record, and if it was, it would soon become old because it was getting broken all the time. But anyway, Monday, I'm getting off topic again like I always do. So Monday we had a quiet session. Sometimes in first sessions you can see one or two little accidents, and it tends to happen more with newcomers. And obviously there's not as many this year there's not as many newcomers these days as there used to be in the past, and especially when you compare it to the Manx Grand Prix. And I've talked about this before, but obviously at the Grand Prix you've got less experienced riders in general and a lot more of them, and it just equates to more, say, silly incidents, but the ones that you wouldn't expect an experienced rider to make. So everyone behaved themselves, apart from a few people decided to have a little slip off down at Governor's Dip. And if you're going to come off your bike anywhere around here, you may as well choose there, because we didn't attend any of those incidents. Like I've spoken about previously, if you're having an incident at Governor's Dip or Quarterbridge or the Hairpin, you probably are going to just get away with it and get up and feel a bit embarrassed and go back and do it again the following day. So we don't need to attend those incidents. But those incidents happen to be in the sector that Mike 8, the new travel marshal, was covering. So, like I've said before, we all get the message from control. It goes out to all the travel marshals at the same time. And the message was, Mike 8, go to standby. And I thought, I hope he hasn't got... So basically, when you go to standby, there's an incident in your sector. We'll just check and see how serious it is before we send you. And if that incident had been at the 33rd, there wouldn't have even been a check it. You would have been going, because it's fast. But like I say, Governor's Dip, they'll just check to see what it's like first to see if they need you, and most of the time they don't. But the first thing that went through my mind was, God, I hope it's not the 32nd, 33rd, Keppel, Brandish, Hilbury, Crontamone. There's so many fast bits down there that could have been a big incident to deal with. But they stood him down. And then probably an hour later, Mike 8 go to standby. And again, same sort of thing, please don't be a bad one. But yeah, it was another one, Governor's Dip. It was so greasy down there. It's the only bit of the course, isn't it, that doesn't get any traffic on it. So most of you all know the course, but if you come to Governor's Dip and you come right back on yourself and you go down through the piece of road that isn't open to the public, and it's under the trees and it's had no traffic on. And even last year, it's slippy-ish because it's just dusty and dirty and leafy and sap and all the rest of the stuff that normal traffic picks up off the road. It doesn't happen in there. And they'll put a sweeper through as well when they can. But yesterday was really wet and horrible in there. And so we saw a few incidents on there on Monday, but everyone got away with it, and they'll be out again tonight. So today's been another grey day, and it's rained overnight again. The roads are dry, and I don't think we've got any major rain in the forecast. We've got a few hours now till road closure. So it's just a case of keep an eye out for what's going on, and hopefully we'll get a good session tonight and everyone gets plenty of laps in. I'm talking about laps. I think I counted Peter Hickman come past me at least 9 times on that first day. So, and again, I've spoken about this before, but some of the Grand Prix that I did, I think the first year I did it, we only got 7 or 8 laps in the entire week of practice, and Hickey did 9 or 10 on the first night. So, considering it's been a bit of a crap week for weather, The boys are getting plenty of laps in. So like I said, we got to run out to have a look at the road yesterday, and then when it was cancelled, we sort of rode back in, but there was no kind of pace. And you got to remember that practice week is obviously practice week for the lads and the girls to get out there, get up to speed, and qualify the bikes for the race. But it's also a chance for us to get out there and get up to speed and make sure that we're riding well and quickly and confidently for the event of us going out in the middle of a race, because that's really when you need to be on it, because the boys and the girls who are racing around are going to be proper on it race time. So we need to be in that same sort of space in our own ability to make sure that we're doing the best job when we're on track with them of being quick and not being in their way. So yeah, it's important for us to get some laps in too. And like I say, hopefully we'll get a few in tonight. But as the TT has sort of changed in the last few years, and some of these videos as well that we're making is just expanding like what we do to a wider audience. And like I say, me and Jim did a piece with MCN, so that might be in next week's Motorcycle News or the week after, and they're really interested in what we're doing, because up until the last few years, apart from the people who know, I'd say you go around and ask people about those guys on those Fireblades, they just think Fireblade, nice new Arai, and go round and just mix it up with the boys. And people didn't really know what it was all about. And again, that's why you've got a list, as long as you are, with people who tell you you've got the best job in the world, and they tell you that how do I get on that list to do that, because it looks like the best job in the world. So going on from that, I'm getting a lot more interest in people who want to do interviews and podcasts and things like that, and making some small videos about like days in the life of and things like that. So it's been a busy week in terms of things like that, like daytime things in practice week. So traditionally practice week for us was just a case of we always check our bikes over, give them a clean, make sure we're fueled, and check all our gear and radios and everything like that. And then it's just a case of getting to your position ready for the start of practice. And there's just a bit more going on in the daytime now. Like I say, me and Jim were up at the grandstand at 10 o'clock yesterday morning, and I'm going to meet with some of the guys from Honda who want to do a piece about our relationship with Honda as travel marshals. It goes back so far, and I've talked about this again before, and I hate to keep repeating myself because I don't want people to think that's what I'm doing, but like, these bikes are absolutely incredible. These are the best motorbikes that Honda make, in my opinion. Someone will tell me I'm wrong, but they send them to us. They send them out, and they want us to use them, and they're proud of us using them. And like, how many of you would be so appreciative to, here's your set of keys for your brand new Fireblade with 30 miles on it. Go and run it in. We'll chuck some new tyres on it, and you can take it around for closed road, run around the TT course. It's just like, can't take stuff like that for granted. And I know it doesn't matter how good you get stuff, eventually you get used to it and you start, maybe not to appreciate it, but I'll never stop appreciating what Honda do for us. It's just like, it's incredible. And the fact that they're interested in like what we think about it, and they just, that relationship we've got with them is really strong. Goes back a long way, and it's an amazing thing. So I'll never ever say no to doing anything with Honda. They just like owe them so much. And the same with Arai and RST, everyone who helps us, and it's just, they all do it because, yeah, it's good promotion for them and it looks good in this, but don't have to at all. And you think they're sending like 10 of these things over? Is it 10 this year? 9 or 10? And what are they, 25 grand a piece? It's £250,000 worth of stuff they're sending over, and yeah, amazing. Anyway, so yeah, a few things to do with Honda, and then on Friday morning, me and Johnny are attending the premiere of the new Arai documentary. So last year, you may have seen, I did a video about, we did some filming with Arai for their 40th anniversary. So we did all the filming last year, and they made the video over the winter, and so it's coming out this week. So the premiere's up at the Arai tent on Friday. So me and Johnny have had an invite to go up to that as we're featuring in it. So looking forward to seeing that. The last one they did, maybe six years ago, it was really, really good. So I'm sure it'll be just as good. But yeah, anybody who thought I was going to have loads to talk about in terms of our duties this week, obviously there hasn't been too much. I'm going to do, loads of people have been asking me questions about the tyres again, and people are really interested to know what tyres we use, and not in like a racing sense, obviously, but we have to select a tyre I say we select a tyre, like we get given the tyre, but obviously with our input. But it's got to be a tyre that can take the speed and the power of a 200 plus horsepower bike, but also be decent in the wet, but not wear out too much or too quickly in the dry, not overheat, but heat up fast enough. And it takes like this, it's got a massive list of criteria the tyre needs to fill to be a Travel Marshall tyre. And like I'm really, really impressed with these. Same as we ran last year. There's the Metzeler's, is it the Sport Tech? I keep remember is it RR7? I'll pop it up. But they're just, I can't speak highly enough of them, to be honest with you. We put them through so many heat cycles. Like, so we will obviously ride them hard from cold, so they take it. We don't get a cold tear on them really. They heat up fast. They remain warm, even like on that cold night. And like I say, Mike 8 came off from Brandywell and sort of cruised back to the start and finish on a coldish night. And he's like, tyres are warm, you know. You'd like, and once you feel like I realise how much warmth they gather really quickly, and that just gives you confidence. And combined with the electronics of the bikes and everything, just amazing. And they don't wear out fast. Like we've used different tyres in the past, and get to the middle towards the end of race week, and there's not much left on them at all. But these like had loads on like by the end of last year, and there's no compromise in terms of grip. So I'll do more about these tyres because I think they deserve more of a shout out than they get. And just a final thank you to everyone who's come up, said they've enjoyed the videos. And again, I don't want to feel like I'm repeating myself, but last year I mentioned how you make the videos, you see they get views, they get loads of comments and loads of likes, and it's brilliant. But I never piece the two together of people watching on the internet and real people in real life who might be at the TT. But loads of people coming up and appreciating it and wanting pictures and things, and it's like no, don't just move with me. I mean, with all of us, it's like it just sheds a really good light on the Travel Marshalls, I think, and it opens up what we do to more people, and I think maybe we get a little bit more appreciation because of it. And it's always nice to be recognised for what you do, isn't it? So, yeah, thanks to everyone who's kind comments, coming up, speaking, and I've been speaking to Jim again yesterday, and like everyone was hoping this video might have Jim in it as well. And I've just been on the radio with Jim because he's just been doing a thing up at the school where he's talking about the way the Travel Marshalls operate. So we've just done a bit of a two-way like weather report on the radio for the kids, and they were like asking some questions over the radio. So we'll be getting Jim on. We've got like some ideas, and I hate feeling like I'm repeating myself, but we will get him on and we'll get some stuff done. But yeah. Couple of hours till road close now. We'll get out again tonight, and hopefully, all being well, we'll have a nice session, plenty of laps, plenty of good speeds, and loads of fun to be had. And see you in a couple of days.